Hello, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Read Me Live. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and we have an incredible show for you today. Our next guest is coming to you live from Sydney, Australia, Miss Jennie Keogh, coach and author. Hi, Jennie, how are you?
Hi, Sharifah. I'm good. It's so nice to finally meet you.
It's nice to finally meet you as well. I'm excited to learn more about you, who you are, and what you do. We will get a live reading for you. We're just waiting for everyone to tune in. I will be reading from the Arcanum Tarot deck, which I love, mainly because I fell in love with the Lover's card on the front of the box. That's just pure love. So if anyone wants to check it out. But before we get to that, I'll go ahead and start shuffling. That's my sign to spirit that I'm about to do a reading, as well as clearing the energy from any past guests and connecting to your energy. So, while I do that, Jennie, tell us about you, who you are, and what you do.
Well, I'm upside down on the other side of the planet from you, which is beautiful because it's amazing that technology allows us to connect in this way. It's Saturday evening, my Sunday morning. I think that's
Yes.
gorgeous. Um, yeah, so I grew up in Sydney, and this is, yeah, a beautiful area that I live in with my son, who's 15. He has Down syndrome, but he's the light of my life. And we have a little black cat called Ziggy Woo,
Oh,
and
wow.
he has completed our family. Um, yeah, and I knew Connor was on his way. Even when I was a little girl, I was always attracted to people with Down syndrome, especially children with Down syndrome. So I believe that was all divine and how he came into my life. I knew even when I was pregnant. So I believe there's something really magical there. And he's really been guiding my life. Of course, this is my child, but yeah, I believe there's definitely something divine there with Connor. And so I've been a single mum to him since he was about 1 year old. And it's definitely been a journey. I've had my own businesses because it's really hard as a single mum to have a normal job. So I've been a florist. I've become a business coach after I sold that so that I could move to be close to Connor's school. And I coached wedding professionals because that was my specialty. I loved weddings and love, like you said, love. Yeah, so I did that, and then my whole world it fell apart about 6 years ago before COVID.
Oh,
My
wow.
son's father had an accident, became quadriplegic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
a big change, transition in our lives, and navigating that together. It broke his little heart. He was about 8 years old at the time. Broke his little heart, and then my partner, who I had been with for 7, 8 years, betrayed me, and yeah, that's a very long story, and it was in 6 months, and then there was COVID, and there was a lot of things, but when we go through these times, there's always going to be a lesson or a silver lining, or there's always something that comes out of it. We don't know when,
Okay.
but there always is something positive, a learning. Because from Connor's dad's accident, he fell off a train platform. He fell off, landed on
Oh,
the tracks, and broke his neck. It was a
oh,
very freak accident. Yeah. Who would think you just trip
right.
and not go home for 2 years? So yeah, that was a lot. But from that, we now get on better than ever.
Are you his caretaker?
No, no,
Okay.
no. He has all of that sorted because I hadn't been with him since my son was 1 year old.
Okay.
So if we were still together, I would have been.
Right.
um, but yeah, so we now get on better than ever. And my son benefits from that. And then from what happened, because after him, I met someone else who I was with for 7-8 years before he betrayed me. But how that all happened was my learnings in trauma and PTSD and toxic relationships. And it was like a university degree of life, majoring in toxic relationships and trauma.
Right.
And from that, I wrote a book because I found at the time I couldn't find the information I needed to take care of myself. And this was in 2019,
Okay.
going into 2020. So that's why I wrote the book, which is right there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll grab How to Heal from Toxic Relationships, because
How to
I
heal from
realized,
toxic relationships.
yeah. And it's just very basically all mapped out for you in a very friendly tone, because I found a lot of the books were very heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't process things. Like for the first time in my life, I experienced what it was like to have it. I don't like to say my brain was broken, but it felt broken. I couldn't function. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. The shock was so much to me, finding out what I did and how I did. And if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't have delved into this world and now be, having studied coaching and root cause therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and now fascial maneuvers, understanding the somatic side of it as well. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be here. And I've always known my calling is to help people. I've been very open about my own mental health struggles throughout my
Okay.
life, because I want that stigma to go away. I want us to have open conversations
Mm-hmm.
about these things to relieve suffering with people. But I know how far back trauma goes. It goes all the way back into the womb, and then there's generational as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if we understand how it works and be able to heal our own traumas, then collectively we're going to heal the world. That's what I believe. It might sound a little bit cheesy,
Well, I
but that
love
is what.
cheesy. Cheesy is my middle name. I tell people I have a
Okay,
Pollyanna view of the world of life.
good.
So I
Yeah.
always so cheesy is great for me. But I want to go back to talk a little bit more about your book. What inspired you to write the book? I know you said you couldn't find anything that everything you found was very heavy, and you can find something that really resonated with you. But what
Yeah.
made you decide and say, you know what, I have enough experience, I have enough wisdom, or maybe you just wanted to share your story in order to write a book?
Yeah. I don't go too much into my story. I mentioned a bit in the intro. I don't want to, because what I found is even reading other stories
Mhm.
could be triggering for me.
Okay.
So that book is probably still to come too. I think it's something that I've always wanted to do,
Hmm.
is to write something. I think, as I said, I've always been open about my personal struggles, mental health, etc. So to help other people with, you know, relieve their suffering.
Hmm.
So that's why I've thought that putting all, because it took me years. And I'm still, like, I don't believe we're ever truly healed. I think,
Right.
there's so many layers to us. But in that time, it, it's, I've condensed everything I've learned,
Hmm.
so that if someone is going through um, a very heartbreaking, traumatic time, they have something that's very practical. I start first with, are you eating well? Your nutrition, your sleep, are you drinking enough water? I
Right.
was lucky in that I've always been quite health conscious. So even when I wasn't eating, I knew to eat protein. I knew to
Right.
have eggs and quality carbs when I
Hmm.
could stomach eating. So I've put all of that in there, because I know a lot of people, they haven't had that experience, because I've had health issues my whole life. So I'm very aware of these things, but not a lot of people, not everyone has. And it's just down to even how to stock your pantry to make sure you've got the
Okay.
food there. Yeah, like that's just the first part, the first chapter. Just going into those sorts of basics and worksheets and like that. And Because if you've got the food there, the nutritious food there, on those days where you just can't get out of bed, it's easier for you to make sure you've got the nutrition you need to take care of the body.
Right.
Yeah. So just those little practical, like little hacks, I guess. And then it then moves into, self-care and reframing and talking to yourself as your best friend. Because I remember at the time I felt weak because I wasn't able to stand up for myself. But I had a lot. I had my son's dad, my son, who was heartbroken. What
Right.
happened with me with my ex, then COVID.
Right.
It was a lot. Of course, now I look back and I think she was so incredibly strong and resilient, even though I didn't feel it at the time.
Right.
But yeah, so I put all this in here, and then, because that's the most important thing, taking care of this, the body, the self first. And there was nothing in the books that I was looking at or YouTube videos, anything that was talking about the practical day-to-day as a mother who had to take care of a little boy and
Right.
who still had to do life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great to have the theory, but what about the day-to-day?
Yeah. What about the day?
The day-to-day, and like I'm looking at it here, like it's talking about, supplements as well, and turning triggers into glimmers. I also explain things like, what is a trigger? How does your nervous system work? What is a glimmer? I used to put glimmers into my day because here's a silver lining. I could not eat very well, but I'd been gluten and dairy intolerant for many, many years. But the fasting allowed my gut to heal. So now I could eat gluten and dairy. And for the first time in probably 15, 20 years, I could have a croissant.
Oh, that's beautiful. How long did you
Yeah.
fast? How long did you fast?
Well, it wasn't deliberate. I could go, I don't know. There would be some days where all I would have is 2 boiled eggs and some roasted chickpeas. That's all I could stomach to eat after the shock of everything. So it wasn't deliberate, but there is that shiny silvery lining.
Yes.
And so what I would do is I would drop my son off at school, and then I would go to a bakery and try a new place for a croissant. So with a coffee. That's now my favorite breakfast, is a croissant and a coffee.
And coffee.
Yeah.
So what do you have on your croissant?
Nothing.
Just a
nothing.
croissant? No
Just
jelly? No jam? No fruit? Just a
no.
croissant? I love it. But that's great.
Yeah. It's because I could finally have it. And when you go to a proper French patisserie or boulangerie, like, where they're authentically made, you don't need anything. It's extraordinary. And because I hadn't been able to have one for so long, I enjoyed every single bite. So that's what I would do. I would go and, not every single day, and then it gave me those little things to look forward to, those little glimmers. So I did that, and you just slowly, it's just slowly working through it. I talk about the neurology of things and the patterns, and get a bit more into that, but I don't go too deep into it because there's so many books that go into that. I just want to touch on it because I had no idea back then.
Okay.
And so if it's just a little touch on that, and then I talk about things like understanding your values, because when you know your values, then you can build your boundaries. So I talk about boundaries as well, and how to implement them and going into like an action plan, and there's a lot of very practical exercises and worksheets in there as well. So
How did you come up with the exercises?
just my own experience and a little bit of research as well, because I had been to so many different therapists as well. I'd been to a psychologist and a therapist, and things like kinesiology. Who else? I was talking to a lot of people. Like I did all sorts of therapies back acupuncture and to help with because also when you go through something traumatic, it presents in your body.
Right.
And during that time as well, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is a
Oh, wow.
chronic illness. Yeah. So on top of everything else I now know about chronic
It's
illness.
almost like, wait, there's more. It's just more that how much can you just pile on one person? But you
I
took
know.
what you went through and you used it as an opportunity to help other people, starting with the book.
Exactly. It all started there. And I just put it all in there. Like I said, in a very practical way, in a very friendly, more feminine tone, because a lot of
Okay.
those books are written by men. So
Right. And
it's,
the men just give you the facts, just the facts, no
yeah,
emotions, no what you're feeling, what are you going through. It's just, this is what is happening to you.
yeah. It's like that, the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which is very well known for
Okay.
trauma, to explain it. But I started reading it and I didn't last long. I had to put it down. It was so triggering. And I
Mm.
think it's not only just the content, but also the tone. And when
Mm-hmm.
you're going through these times, you need friendly and you need common sense
Right.
and kindness and understanding and practical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You just need
Compassion.
the bare bones.
Yeah, and compassion, because we all have
Exactly.
these situations. And one thing about your situation that stands out to me, and actually all of the different situations, is that they were situations that were outside of your control.
Yeah.
What happened to your ex, your son's father. I mean, that's something that you couldn't control. Your son being a single mom, all these things seem to have happened more to you as opposed to sometimes things that we bring about.
Exactly. Exactly. And now, as well, I'm 51 now.
Oh,
I
wow.
was 50
I wouldn't
last.
have guessed. I had no idea. I would have placed you in your 30s.
I feel it. I feel it. I always say I feel 35. I think I'll just say that. But yeah, I turned 50 last year,
Mhm.
and I just decided I'm not doing the next half like I did the last half. And
Right.
this time it has been brutal. It really has. It
Hmm.
really has. And sometimes you just have to say it what it is. And
Right.
it's fine to not be positive about everything all the time. Sometimes you're just in a really nasty place. It's cruel, it's heartbreaking. You need help.
Right.
We're human, we're souls.
Right.
We need help. But I'm lucky in that I've learned so much during this time.
Hmm.
It really has been a the university of life.
Yes. School of Hard Knocks.
Wow, that is for sure. In the last, what would it be? Yeah, 2000, like 6 years,
Hmm.
6, 7 years. Gosh, it's gone so quick, but at the same time, it feels like forever.
Yes. On a daily basis, it definitely seems like forever.
It
But,
does, and
but you've grown a lot.
sorry,
You've grown a lot.
I have. I'm a different person. I
Hmm.
feel, and
Hmm.
it's all these different. We have all these different versions of ourselves as we grow. I think
Right.
when we were young, we think, oh, we grow and this is us and that's us forever and everything's
Right.
going to stay the same. But as we get older, we realize things change. Things
Yes.
change. Your whole life can change like that in a
In an
minute,
instant. Yes.
in an instant. Like my son's dad, like with my partner, because how I found out was that I saw something on his phone. It
Hmm.
was like that. It was in an instant. There's a before and after.
Right.
And but then also, things can change in a week, in a month, in a year. We're all just you just got to, instead of doing this through life, we do this. We just
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
And that is one thing for having a child with special needs, is you learn that you just have to roll with it. And
Yes.
it's okay. We'll be fine. We'll be good. You get some news, you can, feel it,
Mhm.
and you might need to grieve a bit and get angry. But that's just, that you got to process those emotions that come up. And then once that's done, all right, what do we do?
What do we do? Get
What do
back
we
to
do?
life.
That's
Get
it.
back on that horse.
What do we do? How do we turn this around? How do we make this a good thing? Or maybe it's not a good thing yet, but trust it will be. Because, yeah, 6, 7 years ago, I would not have thought there was going to be any positives out of this. But because those things were so dramatically, so dramatic and traumatic, I just know I'm going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that stuff happened in such a short time. I also in that time moved and had 2 operations.
Oh,
Like
wow. Wow.
it was a lot. If I can get through that,
Right.
I'm going to be okay.
Right.
I'm going to
So
be
now,
okay.
so now you're a coach. So now you work with other people when they go through their traumatic situations.
Yeah, that's why I've become a root cause therapy practitioner because
Okay.
because a lot of what we hold is subconscious. We might not even be aware of it, like our limiting beliefs. Might
Okay.
not even be aware. And root cause therapy helps you go to the root cause of it in a very gentle way. I just guide like a meditation, hypnosis, like you're not actually hypnotized, but you just trust. You just trust yourself.
Okay.
Trust, yeah, and you trust that your subconscious is going to take you to an event or a time or a memory where that belief
Hmm.
or whatever it is you want to work on, where it first originated.
Okay.
And then we allow you to process those emotions because they're still held in the body. So you process them. We then go through the lessons
Hmm.
of that experience and help you reframe it. And it's subtle but powerful. And I find the most powerful therapies are the really subtle ones. It's not this big, wow, big moment of enlightenment. It's these tiny little subtle changes that, they're the ones that stick. They're the most powerful. And in society, we all want everything now, instant gratification.
We want instant gratification, but we also want someone who's kind. And I just
Mm.
love how soft your voice is. You are someone that I can see people talking to, sharing their tragedies with, sharing their trauma with, sharing these toxic relationships. But what makes your clients come to you? Usually, is it our love relationships? They've just gone through divorce. What usually happens to where someone says, you know what, I have to go see Jennie?
I think it's just anyone has something they want to work on because I do talk about toxic relationships.
Okay.
But I think it's any transition time.
Okay.
They're awkward,
Okay.
especially me being the age I am. A lot of women around this age, they've kind of had enough. And they want to do things differently. They've given so much of themselves to their family,
Yes.
um, to those around them, to the community, and
Yeah.
now they want something for themselves.
Yes, absolutely. I'm feeling it now. I'm 49. I'll be 50 in March. And so this is a huge transition for me. I had to really take a look
Yeah,
at what I wanted to do, what makes me happy, which is one of the reasons I decided to start reading for people and also finding out more about them, who they are, what they do, what they're passionate about, and if I can offer any type of wisdom and guidance, because that's primarily what I've been doing for years. I just wanted to
yeah,
do it in a different way.
that's beautiful. I
Thank
love the
you.
cards too. I studied them a couple of years ago. I was getting into them. I love the cards because I
Okay.
find they also prompt something that's already within yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what's in the cards for you, my dear. Let's see, because
Okay.
I've been sitting here listening. I've been sitting here shuffling, and I'm like, what do we need to know? What do we need to know today? All the cards, all the cards, all the cards. We're just connecting for you and asking for signs and symbols for your highest good. And so all the professionals, they've been giving me their kind of take on the card. So I love to hear if you have any thoughts along the way. because the main issue that I have for you is Four of Cups. It's kind of hard to see these pictures,
It is a
but
little. That's
I
okay.
always recommend people write them down. But the Four of Cups as the main issue is always for me that point in time where we can get kind of tired or kind of restless, and we want to know what else is there. What am I supposed to do? After all of the hurt, and you definitely qualify as far as things that have happened in the past. But one of the things that I love in the Four of Cups is, even though we may not see new hope and new life, there's so much life in this card. Even at the bottom you can see that there's water, and the water is flowing, and that all of the cups are upright. They're not spilled, they're still, but we're not focused on that. We're not focused on what we have. We're not focused on what's in front of us. We're only focused on what we've lost. And we can again be kind of tired and restless. And so for you, I just really, if I was there, I would just give you a hug. Like that's what I feel the strongest, is to help re-inspire and help motivate you in order to be able to move forward. Because the next card that you have is the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is one of my favorite cards. Already we're getting a lot of cups, a lot of emotions. And
Yeah, that's me.
I she's like, I am very emotional. But that's
I'm
beautiful.
Cancer. I'm a
You're a
Cancerian.
Cancer? Oh, yes. Cancers are the kind of people that they're homebodies, and they love to take care of everyone else. They carry everyone else on their back. But what most people don't realize is that they have a soft, gushy inner the inner inside, the inner
Oh, yeah.
person is very just like the crab. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It has the softness inside. So the Ten of Cups is about fulfillment. It's about family, but it's also about a new beginning. We reach this level of where we are, and it's time for you to go out and look for new opportunities. The next card that you have is the Four of Swords. Four of Swords. Between the Four of Cups and the Four of Swords, the Four of Swords for me is about healing. It's about, this is my rest card. This is my card that says, until you know what to do, don't do anything. Because so often we feel that we have to keep going and going and going and going and going. And the Three of Swords symbolizes sorrow for me. Not that you have sorrow, but what it's saying is there was sorrow in the past. And especially us moms, one of the things that we do is we don't take enough time for ourselves. We don't take enough time to rest. We don't take enough time to heal. Like we were talking about earlier, we just feel that we have to get up, we have to make it happen. And this is really saying just rest. Take a minute to just rest. Take a minute to get your battery, your own personal battery, back up to full. Because it may be a little, it may not be on E, but we're definitely not at full. So swords are about thinking. It's about thoughts. It's about ideas. So my and it's also for me a overthinking card, which is not typical of a Cancer, which is kind of surprising. But
I
have you
went
gone
to
on any vacations?
I went to Bali last year for my 50th. That's
Well,
it.
that's beautiful. But that was
Yeah.
last year. We're in October of
Mm.
2025. But I
Yeah.
would, what do you do for fun?
Study. No, I go the ocean, but we've just come out of winter, so we're starting to swim again in the ocean.
Okay. Yes.
The
Get
ocean.
out there, get swimming, do
Mm.
some frolicking, because too often we forget that. Because the next card that you have is the Queen of Pentacles. And that is really beautiful. The Queen of Pentacles is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I mean, the Queen knows, um, the Queen is a bringer of new life, new energy, new opportunity. The Queen brings renewal. She has her own castle. And just like in this picture, she's holding one coin, right? And this coin to me always represents like a seed of life, a seed of new opportunities that are coming your way. But you want to be rested in order to move forward into this energy. I was just seeing what I feel. The Queen of Pentacles is about money, but it's not just the financial aspect of it. It's about the physical manifestation of what you want and what you desire. So if you want
Yeah.
whatever it is that you want, are you looking to expand your business? Are you looking to grow your business?
Um, oh, of course, because it's all about impact, isn't it?
Yes.
Helping as many people as possible. I'm well, I'm studying fascial maneuvers, so I want to bring that in with
Mhm.
classes, so
Mhm.
online and in person. Um, and that's actually a direction that I want to go in, like more the physical,
Mhm.
because I think I can impact more people that way. And then
Mhm.
those who are interested, they can come and do root cause therapy with me. So at least like when you're doing classes, you can plant little seeds or
Mhm.
educate a little bit and help that way.
I like that for you, because Pentacles again is always about the physical manifestation. It's not just money. Sometimes a person
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I need a new house, but where do I get the money?" Somebody leaves them a house. Somebody, leaves an estate. It's always about the physical manifestation and not just dollars and cents. So I definitely see that as a beautiful omen for you, a beautiful sign for you, is that you can step out into the material world, because the queen
Mm,
is established. One thing about all of the queens is that they are established. A queen is not trying to figure it out. She's not a knight, right? She's not somebody who's just like, oh, where do I go? No, this I think is what you were saying earlier about being more seasoned, being a different time in your life, not somebody who is trying to figure it out. Because the
mm,
next card that you have is the Ten of Swords.
mm.
10 of Swords. So we already have 10, excuse me, two tens. And tens are about completion. Tens are about
Mm,
finality. Tens are about a chapter of your life being over. One thing about the the 10 of Swords is always my overkill card, which means that enough already. That's my beat a dead horse kind of card. And the reason is there are 10 swords stuck in the lady, and how many swords does it really take to kill someone? One, two, you know what I mean? She was probably gone by the third. And so that's saying that this situation, whatever this situation is, it's over and it's done. It's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to be the queen. It's time for you to manifest everything that you want in your life. So all of the, stories that we tell ourselves about who we are based on what happened to us or whatever, those
yeah.
situations are over. It's time for reinvention. It's time for renewal, but it's also time for quietness, to just sit and wait for that inspiration to come with us.
Mm,
That's back to the Four of Swords. And there's an expression that Oprah Winfrey said that I love and that I live by. And she said, when most people don't know what to do, they have to do something. She said, when I don't know what to do, I don't do anything until I know what to do. So just wait for that
yeah.
divine intervention to come in and show you a new direction. Because the next card that you have is the Tower. The
Ah,
Tower. The Tower for me is about unexpected changes, because and it's a major arcana card. There's no way to predict, there's no way to know when the Tower is going to hit, right? So in
no.
our life, I think that's what we were talking about before, is unexpected changes. You've had so many changes that happen in your life that you didn't expect. But sometimes it's our ideas or false ideas appearing real that need to be destroyed, need to be broken down in order for us to move forward. So there may have been thoughts of, what you can do, how far you can go, what you can grow, how far you can grow, different products you want to offer. And so sometimes there are just changes that come into your life that lead you into a new direction. Does that make sense?
Mm. Oh, perfect sense.
We change. I love the Tower, because and I think out of the last few that I've done, I only had one other person who had the Tower. And so I did the whole reading, and I asked her, and I was like, do you have any questions for me? And she said, I just want to know, is the Tower going to be catastrophic change? And I always tell people that I believe that God's spirit whoever you want to call him, he speaks to us and he moves us in certain directions. And if we're obedient and we listen to that direction, or we listen to where we are being led, then we don't need catastrophic change in our life. Right. I believe that when we do have catastrophic change, it's because we're not heeding the signs and the symbols that he's given us before to move out, to step out on faith, to go in a new direction. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you need that movement to where you have no choice but to move, no choice but to change. And I think you're probably the queen at those unexpected changes.
I definitely am.
We're going to get you some
Oh,
positive changes, because now we
yeah.
got the 10 of cups, we got some fulfillment, we got that happily ever after. 10 of cups is my happily ever after card. The next
Yeah.
card that you have is the page of cups. Page of cups. Right? So that's a really, really good, especially for you, especially for a person who is so giving. Pages are messengers. Pages always deliver the message for the king. So whenever a page appears, this is a young energy, a youthful energy that's bringing a message of, it could be love, but it doesn't have to be like a relationship love. This can be about new emotions, new feelings, a new inspiration. And it's like, for this is weird today. I think it's because it's Saturday and I'm more rested than I normally am. Is because I'm doing the cards and I feel like the cards are leading me one way, but I want to go in a completely different direction. And the direction that I keep feeling, and it's coming back with the page of cups, is new inspiration. That there's new inspiration, and that maybe you have been searching for inspiration or something to get you going into another direction and to re-inspire this journey that you're on. Because I've published 4 books, and so often, especially when we publish a book, my first book, I was like, oh my God, it's going to take off. And it did move a little bit, and it moved some, but even what it did is a direct result of my hard work of going out there and pushing the book. And I kind of felt like, oh, it was just supposed to skyrocket, it was supposed to just take off.
Mm.
And sometimes you need new inspiration to get re-inspired after, because it takes a lot to be that vulnerable. It takes a lot to tell your story, and you're telling it with a smile, you're telling it like it was the happiest time of your life. But when you were there and you were laying in the bed and you couldn't get out the bed, it was very, very, very hard. Right.
Yeah.
And so then every time you reach a new level, it takes energy to get to that level. And so I just keep feeling like there's an aspect of, renewal, of looking for new inspiration for you on your journey. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, because there was a time where I couldn't even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I see new inspiration coming your way. New inspiration is definitely coming your way, because the next card that you have is the Queen of Cups. Right?
Mm.
So that is definitely beautiful. You have two queens, right? And the Queen of Cups is about love. The Queen of Cups, and it's so funny that I was saying it earlier. It's like that person you just hug. That's like, I have my friend Ren here in California she owns the Dragon and the Rose in Santa Ana, and people come from everywhere just to get a hug. They're having a bad day and they just go, I need a hug. And over some time, it really became like her trademark. And it's not something that she's intentionally created. It was something that over time people just knew that they needed a hug. They can go get one from Karen. And that's the energy that I saw in you. Like when you're talking, your voice is so soft, it's so warm, and so inviting. You're doing the root cause, but it's not just the modality per se.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
who is delivering the message. And you just feel like someone who embodies the energy of the Queen of Cups. So if you match the energy of the Queen of Cups with the energy of the Queen of Pentacles, then especially business wise, things will start to move. The next card that you have is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is about decisions. It's about choices. Some people consider it a stalemate where we don't know where to go. We don't know what to do. And what I see with the cups is the message to really follow your heart. This is not really about, facts or data. The numbers may not be able to um I don't want to say validate, you know what I mean, but the numbers may say something completely different. But this is about you following your heart and deciding what you want to do and what you want to do on your path, because the Two of Swords is a choice, but it's just a minor choice. You know what you want to do, you know where you want to head out, just go in that direction. And so we did 9 cards. What I always do is a 10-card spread, and then in the 10th card, that's your final outcome. The final outcome is at the end of the day. Sharifah, wrap this up. What are you talking about? What does this mean? Where are we at? And for me, it's beautiful because you have the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles. And so the Knight of Pentacles combined with the especially the Two of Swords in the Tower tells me that you're at a crossroads, that you're at a decision point, that you've gotten basically as far as you can go on that journey. Now, I don't mean the journey of life. I mean in where you are, right? It's stable. It's established. You've written a book. It's tangent. It's come to life. But now you have to move forward into, okay, what's next? What else do I want to do? Because for me, the Knight of Pentacles is always a young energy. It's the energy of a 20-year-old to a 25-year-old. And what a 20-year-old and a 25-year-old to 25-year-old knows is they think they know everything, only to get 50 and realize you didn't know anything, right? Because
Still know nothing.
nothing, nothing at all, right? That's what, but the whole point is the knight has to set out on his journey, right? The difference between the knight and the king is the king is established. The king has fought all his battles. The king already has his kingdom, whereas the knight is trying to prove himself. That's why I always say this is the energy of a kid who basically just graduated college, right? They have their degree, they have their papers in hand, but you know what they're lacking is the experience, right? So for you in this direction that, but again, you cannot get anywhere until you begin this journey. So he goes out, he sets out on his journey. So for you, I see this as inspiration, and in where you're going, it may not, and it most likely will not wind up exactly the way you paint this picture of where you want to go. Like you said, you want to start with the clothes. Good, start with the clothes. But then next thing we know, you're gonna have some shoes out or something. And we're like, how do we wind up here? Because you have to start this journey. You have to begin this journey in order to wind up anywhere. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And we just don't know. We don't
We
know where we'll
don't.
end up. We don't
We
know what it will look like.
No, we don't. But we have to start. I mean, I think that's the most
Yeah.
important thing, is that we have to start. And
Yeah.
it's a Knight of Pentacles. Pentacles is, again, the physical manifestation. You got a lot of court cards. Court cards are either embodying that or people around you. And it's very positive. So with the Tower, with the Knight, with the Two of Swords, it's about starting this journey and not really being focused on necessarily the end result and what that looks like. I love what you said earlier about, being in the moment, focusing on today. If you focus on today, tomorrow will take care of itself, because everything has not been, what's the word I'm looking for? Shown. It has not been shown yet. Like the big picture of where you're going and who you are has not even been shown yet. But you have to go through all of these situations in order to get where you're going. Does that make sense? Does does this does this resonate with you?
All of that resonates.
Okay, well, give me some feedback. You're a professional. I asked them for feedback. Like, do you have any questions for me?
No, that's very. I resonate with it. Everything you've said makes so much sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. We just don't know where we're going, and the only thing we can control is what's in here, what's within ourselves. You're talking about follow your heart. Well, that's very much how I want to lead my life. I'm very intuitive, so I'm much more in alignment with intuition than facts and numbers. But yeah, you just, I can't wait to watch this back because you're so spot on.
It's like, I'm not going to take notes. I'm going to watch it after it. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's, I just really, I think it's beautiful, again, with the 10 of swords, put the past behind you, in any way that you can. And don't forget to rest with the 4 swords,
Rest is really important. Yeah,
rest is really
yeah.
important. And then you'll find the energy and the inspiration in order to overcome this next challenge and this next battle, because that's what knights do. They continue to push forward, they continue to battle, but it's all good. You're the Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. You're gonna make it happen with love and with money. So I think that's beautiful. So now we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
Well, number one, you are your best friend, and to talk to yourself as such, because you're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life, and that's the person who matters most. And when you take care of yourself first, then you can take care of everyone else even better than just focusing on them. And when you are talking with other people, communicating in relationship in any way with anybody, just check in with yourself as well and see how you feel in that situation. Check in with your nervous system. I've learned a lot about the nervous system. And how do you feel? How do you feel in the moment? How do you feel within yourself? How does the situation make you feel about yourself? And start there, and you find that everything else will flow. Everything else will flow along with that. And if you are ever stuck, think about your future older self and what advice they might have for you. Because I know we hear a lot about the inner child, but sometimes we need advice from our older self and what they could give us in this moment. And that's a really valuable exercise. If you could just, like Sharifah said, just be still in the moment and just check in with yourself. How do you feel in your body? Any sensations in your body? A lot of us are disconnected. So, yeah, I think that's really important somatically to check in. How are you feeling? How is your heart? And again, talk to yourself as you would your best friend. Most of my life, I've been my worst critic, and that's not a way to live. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. And I think that's the most valuable thing. To be your best friend, be your own best friend, and have your own back.
Let's talk about the book. Where can they find the book? We didn't mention the book. We got to tell them about the book.
It's on Amazon.
How to Heal from Toxic Relationships.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
And
check
there's
it
some
out.
bonuses as well.
Lots of bonuses. I love bonuses. Definitely love bonuses. I want to thank you for being today's guest on Read Me Live. I want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show live, as well as everyone who's watching in the archives. I definitely appreciate your support. And if you want to be right here where Jennie is and have your own private reading, visit my website at readmelive.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.